We are going to start with the Browns today as they get ready to take on the Steelers this weekend. And as everyone knows, you can tackle all your NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Guys, the Browns haven't swept the Steelers since the 1988 season. This year for the Browns has been a lost cause. We had playoff expectations. At least most of us did, Bo, before you correct me, because you didn't pick them to make the playoffs. However, no one thought they'd be 3-9, despite the lost season for the Browns. Would sweeping the Steelers for the first time since 1988 mean something still? Or, at this point, considering you're playing for a draft pick, is that not have the same weight it would in a normal season?
Go ahead.
I actually liken this to Ohio State, Michigan, in a lot of ways.
Winning if you're Michigan.
You're Michigan in
exactly.
this sense.
Yes, makes your season.
Yeah, like Michigan, like what was Jack Sawyer on the field screaming? Your season is over. Like we're going to play for a national championship. Your season is over.
Yeah.
It's kind of where the Browns are. Their season's over.
But it gives them individual bragging rights,
absolutely,
which in a rivalry is what you want.
If you can beat your division rival in a team, like the Cleveland-Pittsburgh rivalry is not anything what it was 40, 50 years ago. Like it's dead.
Yeah,
but
that's not dead. But it's
dead
not
on
what
their
it was.
between the teams, between the
But I
the
think,
fans' bases may
wait,
not
let me
like
ask
each
you
other,
this: Do
but
you
on the
think that
field,
it's nothing special for the Steelers?
I don't think so.
I think for
So
Steelers,
it's like playing the Raiders or the
No, I don't think that. But I think for Steelers, their fans, it means more against Baltimore.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll give you that,
And
100%.
and on the
but I still think it has meaning on both sides.
I agree, but
there's
just
two
not
di-
as much as it used to.
But it's two different conversations.
Yeah.
It's fans and it's players.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
The players, the rivalry is Baltimore.
Yeah.
The fans, it's probably still Cleveland-Pittsburgh because of the vicinity.
Sure,
and
I
everything
agree with
else.
that, yeah.
But
But
on the field, I don't think the Steelers, they tell you. Like George Pickett, Cleveland is Cleveland.
Yep.
And Pickett's saying, well, the weather played a factor. Like they don't fear the Browns.
And what was the line? Even the year that we beat them, I believe it was to go to the playoffs. Did somebody on the Steelers said it's just a bunch of gray faces over there?
I don't remember that comment.
The
But
Steelers have taken
the
so
year
many
the Browns
passive-aggressive shots at the Browns,
Yeah.
they all run together.
The Browns beat the Steelers to end the regular season,
Yeah.
and then won the playoff
And then
game
won
the
the playoff
following
game.
week.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh didn't really play anyone, right?
No.
No, they didn't.
And
And
they
they,
were
started
collapsed.
hot and then tailed
they
off
had
at
collapsed
the
at the end of the season.
end. The famous
Yeah.
shot I remember was just Roethlisberger sitting there
Yeah.
with his thoughts racing through his
Right,
head.
right.
Yeah.
You know, I think that for Pittsburgh, this game is so much more meaningful. There are three scenarios for the Browns. You can make the playoffs. Then it doesn't matter really what you do against Pittsburgh. You made the playoffs. So I don't care. It's like Ohio State is looking at it this year. Okay, claim your win, go home, stake your flag, whatever you want to do. We're going to play for a national championship while you guys will be going back to class. That's a pretty harsh reality. So I think there's three scenarios. One, you make the playoffs. You don't even care about what happens with Pittsburgh. Two, you miss the playoffs and you lose a critical game that kept you from the playoffs to Pittsburgh. That's gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
And then the other one is like what we have here. You win 4 or 5 games, but 2 of them are against Pittsburgh. Well, that's better than winning 4 or 5 games and splitting with your rival or losing both of them to your rival. It's something to cling on to, but by no means are they going to be staking a Browns flag at midfield if they beat the Steelers on Sunday.
No, I mean, and like if you think about the Michigan-Ohio State game this past week, if that game, like if this was the old system where it was 4 teams made the playoffs, well, they would have eliminated Ohio State, and that would have been even more meaningful.
Even bigger.
Right? Because they would all right, our season sucks. Well, now your season's useless.
You're right. Yeah.
Because you're out of it.
Enjoy your misery
Same
with
thing,
us.
like, yes, it would be cool to end all these, these ridiculous streaks against the Steelers. Mm-hmm. And as a fan, you want to beat your rivals, even if the game doesn't really mean anything to your team. For the fans, it's meaningful. As a Browns fan, you want to beat the Steelers, even if your season sucks. However, if this game, like if the Steelers lose, they're still probably going to the playoffs.
Yes.
I mean, it's not set in stone.
It's almost set in stone.
It's close.
Yeah, they're very close to it.
So you're not ending their season, but it still irks you.
You could probably say you take them out of the running for home field and the one seed, which is the bye. So,
but it doesn't even kill them into their division because they're a game and a half up on Baltimore right now.
I'm wondering if I watch it differently. I've watched most of this season. Like you, I did not think they were going to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
I've watched this season in a different way than I've ever watched them before. Far less, I'm not screaming at the TV on a second or a third down miss in the second quarter. Whatever. I also find that there's a silver lining to losing. And because of that, I talk myself I do the mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
When we lost to the Chargers, I was like, okay.
Better draft pick.
So you can actually win by losing. And because of that scenario, I don't want to lose Sunday.
Sure.
I want to drill the Steelers. But if it ends up with a loss, the way I make it acceptable to me so I can immediately pick my life up at 4:01 on Sunday and do whatever it else is I want to do, it's just like, okay, so what? We just improved our draft.
That's right. And you haven't had that the last 3 years.
That's right.
And yes, like during the game, you always want your team to win.
Yes.
We all know in our brains that it's better for the Browns to lose games. But when you're watching the game, you can't sit there rooting against your team.
No, I
But
can't.
as soon as it's over, yes, it's over. Okay, especially a game like last week where you're like, wow, Jameis played really well. The team overall played pretty well, and we lost. So in the end, it's not that bad.
I'm guessing it was a similar situation for you on Sunday when your Bengals lost to the Steelers. That's a rivalry too.
I still felt like the Bengals could make the playoffs if they won last week.
So for you, that was the end.
That was the end because they had the Bengals have 3 straight
winnable
games against pretty bad teams.
Yeah.
I was like, if they win this, they could easily win 3 in a row, and now all of a sudden they're 8-8 going into the last game.
Maybe.
And one of those wins would have been over the Broncos, so they would have had a chance to make the playoffs.
Okay,
so.
that's interesting.
But now, yes, I'm thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to find whatever silver lining you can to get you to tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been one of those years. And you'd look back on it and you'd say, wow, how does this team beat Baltimore and the Steelers twice and only win 2 other games? That's almost impossible to figure.
Swept by the NFC East.
Yes.
They don't play all the teams in the South.
Well, in the West so far, they've lost to the Raiders. They've lost to the Broncos.
Right.
They'll
They still
likely
got the
lose to
Chiefs.
the Chiefs.
Lost to the Chargers.
And lost to the
Lost
Chargers.
to the Chargers.
So they can
Now,
be
to be
swept by
fair,
the AFC West and the NFC.
Those
West.
are
Good Lord.
outside of the last place teams, the Raiders and the Giants. Both those divisions are good this year. The other 3 teams in those divisions are really good teams.
Sure. Very good, I think.
But it is something I'd love to talk about with Kevin Stefanski because he's been great in the division.
Yes.
He has.
By
got a winning
far
record.
better than any Browns
He's
coach
got-
in forever.
he's got a
But
winning record.
outside of the division, he's been bad.
And everyone, you know the adage, well, if you want to have playoff hope, you better
Right.
do well in the division.
And the Browns
Those
are like-
games count for 2, and they win. They do well in the division.
Mike, do you have the Browns division record under Kevin Stefanski?
I'll do it real quick. They're 2-1 this year.
It's like 33-30, I think.
We'll go through it real quick.
Okay.
They were
I've got it
2-1 this
somewhere.
He
year.
is now sub 500 as the Browns coach overall, right?
No, he's 40-39.
Oh,
Game
okay.
over.
So he's
So-
one game from being 500.
So they're 2-1 this year. They were
Yeah.
3-3 last year.
That's 5-4.
In 2022, they were 3-3.
Wow.
That's
8
and 7.
So he's about 500.
In 2021, they were 3-3,
11-10.
and in 2020, they were 3-3.
Wow.
14-13.
He seemingly goes 3
Well,
and
that's
3 every
definitely
year.
33-30. I don't know where I got
Yeah,
that from.
14-13. But still, in this division, I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. Since he's been here, the Ravens have been good every year. The Steelers have been good every year. And the Bengals have been good every year except for 2020. So,
And this year.
Well, yeah, and this year. But the Bengals are still not, like, they're not bad. You know, they're normal.
No.
They're just having a,
They
you know,
weren't
whatever.
there 2-14.
Overall, this division's been, like, considering he's a 500 coach overall, and the fact that he has he's a game over 500 in the division,
Yeah, it's weird.
and then 500 out of the division, it's just.
Jay,
it
do
is-
you think that there's a big game that he does well, getting his teams up for these big games, but not so much the other ones? Because your winning percentage, I think, should be better outside of your division when you're playing in a division that is so stacked.
In the NFL, if you're above 500, you're doing a good job. That's how I look at it. Like,
Yeah, I do too, especially if the body of work is 5 years.
yeah, like he's a little bit under probably where he should be, but I mean, my God, has he had one quarterback for an entire season and
No.
the entire time he's been here?
Baker in his last
in
year.
2020
he missed some time because of the injury, but not
I mean,
much.
he had Baker for all of 2020, and then he gets hurt
Yeah.
in 21, and then you've got the carousel of the last
and
3
it
years.
hasn't been a steady guy since.
I mean, Baker in 2020 was the only quarterback to play the whole season for the Browns in forever.
Yeah. But I just, when you look at him, like, he's won with a lot of different quarterbacks who aren't very good.
The frustration, if you're a fan, and I get it, the frustration is that when he's had good seasons, the follow-up seasons have been huge disappointments.
he seems to checkerboard.
Yeah. And ultimately,
If you're going to be elite, you have to maintain a level of consistency.
Like the Steelers do.
Yeah,
like the
absolutely.
Steelers don't have that sub-500
No.
team.
Right.
Ever.
No.
but also Tomlin won a Super Bowl early in his career. Now I know he has
Sure.
that buys you a lot longer goodwill there. So
Yeah,
factors
you
in,
definitely have some equity when you win early as a head coach. It certainly helps. We talked about this Wednesday when Aditi was on, but there are still Steelers fans. They're in minority and they're quiet right now because things are going well. But at the first turn of trouble, if they lose in the first round again,
which wouldn't be a surprise.
they'll
to me.
come out of the woodwork with their Fire Tomlin signs.
And
I don't get it.
It's insane.
It is insane.
See, but
I hope that if they do, I hope he drives 120 miles or whatever it is west and comes here.
Steelers fans are spoiled.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I get it.
It's like Ohio State fans are spoiled.
Right.
Winning in the regular season is almost that's a prerequisite. You have to do that.
Right.
Steelers have had 3 coaches in 50 years.
Almost my
That's
lifetime.
one of the craziest,
It's just about my
big
lifetime.
picture things ever.
Hell, we had 3 in a
coaches
season.
50 years.
We had 3 in a season, more than once, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. Now it's the chicken and the egg. Do you get consistency because you have good coaches, or do you have good coaches because you have
You
consistency?
picked the right coach.
Yeah.
Right, but sometimes there are guys who are the right coaches, but sometimes it takes a number of years. Everybody gets
And then you're
better.
patient with them.
You know, besides Belichick, obviously Belichick is the biggie. All the coaches the Browns have been through, none of them have gone on to have great careers.
Marty Schottenheimer. I mean, we're going way back. You're going
I'm starting
99. Okay. Yeah.
99.
No, you're right.
Well,
No.
Belichick doesn't count.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But he's the first one that comes to
Right,
mind.
right, right.
Everyone
Sure.
says, the Browns and Belichick and all that. But from the time they came back in Kyle Shanahan would be the closest, and he was only offensive coordinator. But a head coach, all the head coaches that do, it's
There's
not
been a
even,
lot of assistant coaches that have gone on and done well, but
head
none
coaches,
of the head coaches. No.
It's not even like that they rushed to judgment on a coach, fired him too soon, and the guy went elsewhere and went on to have a great career elsewhere.
I will say that I think in better circumstances, of all the coaches the Browns had since I've been here in 2011, I think until Stefanski, I think the best coach they had was Mike Pettit.
I totally agree with that.
I agree with that
I
too.
totally agree
And
with
he
that.
got stuck in a bad spot.
And he went on to is he still a coordinator in the league or no?
Yeah, he's been
He
a
was
good
with
think
the,
he
he
coordinator.
was with the Packers for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know where
Yeah,
he is
I'm not
now.
sure where he is now.
I'm pretty
but
sure he's still a coordinator.
I
can't
agree
remember
with
where he
that.
is.
I like Mike.
I think he had a
He's
chance.
on the Vikings defensive staff now.
Okay.
Okay, so he's not a coordinator.
Cleveland traumatized him, and I don't know Mike
Yes.
at all. Cleveland traumatized him
Well,
so
I mean, look
badly.
what he had to deal with. They forced him to start Johnny Manziel.
He was like, nope,
He was
I
7
never want to
and-
deal with that again.
I
He
don't blame
was
him.
7-5 with a team that had not close to the talent they have now.
Yeah.
And Brian Hoyer is the quarterback. I know we love Brian because he's from here. He's not a starting quarterback in the NFL.
No, but he played well in his
He
time.
played well. And they forced him to start Johnny Manziel. Remember Ray, what was the Ray
Farmer.
Ray
Ray Farmer's calling him
During the game, right?
It's insane.
The Ray Farmer press conference with the towel. He's wiping his head with the towel. Oh, great moments.
We've
But
seen
I
it all
think-
here in Cleveland.
But every other coach they've had has been awful.
None of them
Awful.
have. Like you
Yeah.
would think, one of them you would have run into. You
Yeah.
picked a good one and you just
Yeah.
fired him or gave up on him too soon, and he
Right.
went on to have a good career
No.
elsewhere. None of them.
No.
No.
None of them.
Yeah, so the track
Don't-
record's incredibly bad. Do we think, by the way, that Stefanski is coming back next year? Because those
I think
rumors
so.
were kind of put to rest by some reports from multiple people, and now
Yeah.
we've all pretty much said, yeah, he is coming
I never
back.
thought he should have been.
I didn't think they were going to,
Yeah.
but there was a lot of talk that they might.
I think that you always have to have the caveat of you never know with Jimmy because he's such a wild card. But
Right.
Yeah, for me, I'm with you guys. I'd be very
Now,
surprised.
do we feel the same way about Andrew Barry? Because I know one of the reports
Yeah.
said that Barry was going to be back too. But there was another one that only mentions Stefanski
Right.
specifically.
For me personally, I would move on from Berry and keep Stefanski.
Okay.
But my guess is the Browns don't do that. But I don't. What do you think, Jason?
I don't know. I don't want to answer that right now because I just don't know.
I guess we don't know. I just want to know the power structure in the organization. Is Barry drafting the guys that he really believes can change this team, or is he getting a packet from the chief strategy officer in Paul DePodesta?
I think AB's in charge of the draft.
You do?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that with 100% certainty.
Do you think that Paul has any input into the draft?
Sure. I think probably.
I would want to know this. Who is responsible for scouting wide receivers? Because your system is broken.
Yeah.
And if that's Paul, then let's move on. If it's Andrew, I have to say there's enough evidence there now that we aren't just missing by a little bit. We're missing by a lot with the wide receivers in the draft.
I do like Cedric Tillman.
Tillman's a hit, but he's the only guy that I can say.
Yeah.
All the other guys are just guys.
He's the most recent one that they've drafted.
No, they drafted Thrash last year.
They did draft Thrash.
Yeah, he was a late pick, though.
No, I know he was.
And the middle round guys, you got to give them a little bit more time. The
Yeah.
first round guys pop right away. They should.
Sure.
The middle round guys, it takes a little bit more time. The one thing that I will say in the Kevin AB thing, and this gets overlooked all the time, I think it's significant, but no one else seems to think so. Kevin was here first.
Yeah.
They hired the coach first.
That's right. Which is why I think you can fire AB if you wanted. Or is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, I think they prioritized the coach.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. And if Barry was hired first, and then he hired Stefanski,
Right. Yeah, that would be a different
there's a different
story.
dynamic,
Sure.
I think. So I do
Yes.
think it should be pointed out that was the order.
You know, I've been a big Kevin Stefanski supporter. There was a moment for a week or two where I was like, well, you got to bring in a new GM, and if he wants a new coach, you got to change it. And I've changed my mind on that because ultimately, I think Kevin's done a good enough job where you find a GM that wants to work with Kevin.
Yeah,
and
I
I
agree
think you'll
with
have
that.
plenty of GMs that will be willing
I
to do
think
that.
Kevin can be a very good coach. I think he's a good coach now. I think he can be in that very good category. And I like that you always point out you learn every year. You learn something every single year.
Yeah.
Believe me, when the autopsy is being done on 2024, Kevin Stefanski is going to have a notebook full of things that he dealt with that he hadn't previously dealt with that he learned something from. He's a smart guy.
I would dare say he and the organization learned more going through this year than any year
Even
previously
COVID.
since they've been here. Oh, even COVID, for sure. COVID, in some ways, COVID was actually easy.
Because
there was
a lot of
said
people
that.
were out of the
There
building.
was nobody in the building.
Yeah.
And
No
I've said
distractions.
for years, there's a reason their first year was their most successful. And in one sense, you think, man, it was so hard. He had to install his entire offense over Zoom. Can you imagine how difficult that was? On the other hand, it was all football and no nonsense. There was nobody else in the building. It was only football all the time.
So let's lock everybody else out of the building.
Yeah, right. And there
Or
were
at
no
least an office downtown. They can go to work downtown and
right.
let the football people do the football stuff.
Yeah.
You can lock them out on the other side of
And
the
there
fence.
were no fans at the games.
on the
either.
other side of the fence.